Hey, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in to the Hanging On to Hope podcast.
I'm Brenda J.
And I'm Karen Wonder.
And we are HangingOnToHope.org.
This podcast is intended as educational and is not psychological or medical advice. Always consult a professional when needed, and we disclaim any liability in connection with the instruction, information, or advice given.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Hanging On to Hope podcast. This is Brenda J. Today we have Tammy Abernethy and Linda Rinsel on the podcast. Tammy is the CEO of Hope's Women's Centers, and Linda is the center manager for the Apache Junction location. So welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you. We're glad to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Hi, Tammy and Linda. This is Karen.
Hi, Karen.
So was it Linda that I met at the Wingtail?
Yeah.
Okay. I was sitting next to you, I think.
Yes.
So nice to see you again or meet you again. You know, I can't see you.
Yes. Nice to hear you again.
Better word said. So in addition to the podcast, a lot of our listeners don't know that Brenda and I have a nonprofit, and we also help in our community. So we look forward to offering your resources because they're so important. So Tammy, can you tell us about Hope Women's Center and how the vision happened?
Yes, absolutely. So we are actually celebrating our 40th year this year in 2024. We're really excited to have
40 years.
40 years. I know.
Oh, my
We've grown a lot since then. But for the first, it was started by a nurse in Apache Junction. That's our original location. We still have that location, but a nurse started it with just a passion for women and teen girls that were pregnant and did not have a lot of resources in their community. And fast forward about 20 years, and the women that were leading it in the mid 2000s were seeing a lot of the same women and girls coming back, but struggling with so many other emotional, physical, situational issues, addiction, poverty, single parenting, a lot of abuse. And so that is when that team began to expand the mission and vision to what we are today and to really offer more holistic services. How do we come alongside her physically, emotionally, spiritually, and any difficult life situation? And so that continued to grow and refine for about 10 years. And then 10 years ago is when we started reproducing that model to where we are today and just continuing to expand all of the programs that we have.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, that's great. Just resources that it's so needed.
It is. I mean, I didn't know of any help when I was going through my abusive marriage. I didn't know there was any help out there, and there wasn't a lot.
Right.
22 years ago when I needed the help. But this is amazing that you're here, and that's why we do the podcast, so our listeners can find these resources.
Yeah.
Whereas before there was nothing like this out there. So this is amazing. So Tammy, what's the goal and mission of Hope Women's Centers?
So our goal is to see women move from trauma to transformation. Our mission is how do we engage, encourage, and equip women and teen girls in any difficult life situation like the ones we just talked about, and how do we engage her very holistically? We know that women in crisis are often in isolation, and like you just said, don't know what resources are out there.
Yeah.
They think they're the only ones going through this. There's no one else that has this unique experience. And so being able to engage them with what we do, bring them into community, and then offer these programs can very holistically help them move from that traumatic situation into a place of healing and transformation and really help break those cycles for future generations.
So how many centers are there and where are your locations?
Yeah, Linda can give you our general locations. I want to tell you about a new exciting expansion we're doing. So Linda, do you want to share our general locations?
We have 6 centers, and those locations are our main headquarters is in Phoenix, and then the Apache Junction Center. We have one in Camp Verde. We have one in Coolidge, which is a new center. They just went into a new place, and it's a beautiful new facility down there. And then Maricopa, and then the West Valley.
Wow, to cover everything.
Well, that's where I wanted to add, we're really excited about, for the last 40 years, we have been the day center model of women coming to us. And then what we just launched in 2024 is Hope on the Road, where we are going out to the community in addition to our day centers and bringing the services to places where women are that might not have necessarily found us. So that really spreads us statewide.
Wow.
We're starting East Valley, West Valley, and then we hope to grow Southern Arizona and Northern Arizona, where we can go to where women are and provide direct services, even if we don't have a center in that location. So
what does that look like on the road?
So it looks like partnering with already established collaborations with our other nonprofit partners that are doing great work in their community, but may not have some of the programs that Hope can provide. So what we do is we go and locate with them. It might be a food bank. It might be a domestic violence shelter. It might be another nonprofit working with women coming out of abuse. But we can bring our programs directly to the women in partnership with that nonprofit. So it's just expanding our reach.
Yeah, because everyone just needs to work together, because
absolutely
it's such a big issue that no one person can tackle, that everyone works together.
Yeah, we do get our own emergency abuse victims sometimes as well and work a lot with Winged Hope. So we would be able to talk to you guys as well about resources
absolutely
to help people. Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yep.
That's great.
We would love to.
Well, Tammy and Linda, Hope Women's Centers offer so many free programs for women, which is what this podcast is all about. Can you talk about some of the programs you offer? And I thought you offer so much, I thought you could just take turns. When I was reading through the brochure, I saw how much you offered. I was like, they might want to take turns on this one.
I'll go ahead and go first. And so we do have a lot of different services. So we're kind of like just trying to highlight here. We have Hope Equips. And what Hope Equips are the classes we have, like anger management, holistic parenting, Rise Above Abuse, and faith-based classes, life skill classes. Our life skill classes are like arts and crafts and sewing. And at our location, and I know at some of the other ones, we actually have a garden. And so we have a gardening teacher, and they can work in the garden and do gardening. The arts and crafts class, we just recently heard something back from somebody that refers to us, and it was really quite an amazing thing to hear. Is she said, I've referred people to you, and what I heard back was she had come out of a domestic violence situation and moved into an apartment, and her apartment was bare. But when she made the arts and crafts and was able to complete something, she took it back and was able to hang it up on her walls, and she said that it made it feel more like a home when she was able to do that.
Yeah.
I had to tell the volunteer that taught that class, it's not just arts and crafts. This is the effect of that. Yeah. And so with our anger management, holistic parenting, and Rise Above Abuse classes, they sometimes ladies are court ordered to take those classes. They can come into the center, and all of our services, like you mentioned, are free. And so they can take any of those 3 courses. They're 12-week courses. They don't have to take them sequentially. And once they complete that, we can give them a letter stating that they've completed it. They'll take it back to the courts, and the court recognizes that they have completed the court-ordered courses. So that's an amazing thing too, because if they went someplace else, they might have to pay a lot of money to do that. We have Hope Overcomes, which is classes like we have Dr. Ashley Rincon is our staff psychologist, and she wrote Understanding Trauma. It's probably one of my favorite classes to teach. And she just finished Wellness and Coping Skills. And it teaches a lot of resiliency skills. So we help them build their toolbox for resiliency skills and being able to make different decisions and think differently going forward. We have Celebrate Recovery. We have one-on-one mentoring. Then we have Hope Provides, which we have the boutique. The ladies, when they take classes, they earn points. And with the points, then they can go shopping in our boutique. And our boutique is supplied by generous donors who give and we have gently used clothing. We have cleaning supplies, toiletries, paper products, some baby clothes. We can provide diapers. So with those points, they get to go shopping, and it helps supplement their income. We have resources available. So sometimes people just want legal resources, or where is there a shelter? And we're able to provide those kinds of resources. We have Hope Teens, which especially in Coolidge is a pretty exciting program. Maricopa does as well. And so we have teens that come in. And so in Apache Junction, the teens get out at noon on Wednesdays. So we have it on Wednesdays. But in Coolidge, they don't have school on Friday. And so their whole program, they do lots of fun activities. But then also we have a learning time with the teens as well. And in the summertime, what I noticed this past summer is we had the teens coming and taking classes all day long. So they get to sit shoulder to shoulder with the adults and they get that attention and they do things like sewing and crocheting and they absolutely love that. And then we have Hope Kids, which is our childcare program. And we can provide childcare for moms who are in our education classes. We can provide from 0 to 5 years old. And then we have a coordinator who works with the childcare workers so that in all of our centers, the children are learning principles while mom is in our education classes. And so I'll turn it over to Tammy for the rest.
Yeah, that's amazing. So we do get a lot of donations, or how people offer donations, and I've been taking them to different places, but that's good to know that you need all that stuff. Cause I even had someone offer, the stuff like the toiletries and that recently. So you'll take donations as well?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We love
So
to
where would you
receive
go
the
to?
donations, and that's how we are able to operate.
Yeah, I was going to say all of our locations on our website, hopewomencenter.org. There's a page called Give Hope, and it just kind of goes through each of the locations, where they are, the times for dropping off the donations, and what things we can and can't take. So we would love to refer people to the website for all those details.
Great.
Yeah.
And then
I just had a bunch of business suits and stuff for women for job interviews, and I took them to a different place because I didn't meet her till after that.
But that's great. I would love to then. I mean, that's one of the programs. Linda did a fantastic job highlighting a lot of our core programs. I just want to hit on a couple more. Our Hope at Work program for all of those job clothes that somebody may have that they're ready to pass on, all of those nice work clothes. Our Hope at Work program really helps prepare women for the workplace and helps them advance in the workplace. So a lot of women coming to Hope, it may be their first time going into the workforce. Maybe they have been at home for years, or maybe they have been a stay-at-home mom now going through a divorce, having to go back into the workforce, or in an entry-level job and really wanting to be able, or needing to be able to provide more for her family. So to advance in the workplace. And the thing I love, one of the many things I love about Hope, is that we're able to individualize each program to meet her where she's at and what she needs. So we provide individual job coaching to really kind of meet her exactly where she is at that moment and where she's looking to go in the workforce. We teach Hope at Work classes, how to get a job, how to do a resume, how to interview, but also once you're in that job, what do you do when your trauma is triggered, or how do you handle conflict or advocating for yourself? So our Hope at Work program just continues to grow. And we also are starting to offer opportunities for women for internship connections. So I'm excited about that. We definitely need those clothes for our women that are entering the workforce. And then just a couple more programs. Our Hope Heals program is our counseling program. We launched that during COVID when the mental health needs of our women, we just saw skyrocket, and we were able to bring on a Hope staff psychologist, and we are expanding that this year with more therapists so that we can do free therapy for any woman that is part of Hope's programs and really help her process and stabilize and adjust as she enters a new phase in whatever she's struggling with. And then our Every Mother's Advocate is our newest program. And that is what we're so excited about taking on the road, and where we've begun to talk to some of these partner organizations, because we are the only Arizona affiliate for this program. It's a national program, and it really is a mother's advocacy. How do we help that mom that is in a really vulnerable position, that if we don't offer some intercepts or supports, is at risk of having her children enter foster care, or just at risk of really staying in an abusive situation? So how do we come alongside with one-to-one advocacy, coaching? We have a great parenting class that's part of that. That's a one-on-one class. We have some financial supports that are part of that. It's just really an intensive 12 to 16 week program to help a mom that is in crisis stabilize and really launch into the next season of her life. So that's the one that we're taking on the road, that a lot of our partners have been really excited about seeing implemented.
That's
It is amazing.
Yeah, that's very impressive, all those programs.
Thank you.
And I like that you guys do the crafts, because I think that's so healing. You are in trauma, like to do artwork, all that you were saying. I mean, that's
I agree.
Along with healing. So we wanted to ask if you know of any, like in any other states or countries, if you know of any other similar programs, so that our listeners that are not Arizona.
Yeah, we're in 75 countries now, maybe 76.
Oh, that's fantastic that you guys are posting that resource and information. I don't know of a lot outside of the United States. Hope is a unique model, but our affiliates are ProGrace, so prograce.org, and then Every Mother's Advocate. Both of those are national programs. So I know ProGrace is in Canada, Illinois, New York, and I know EMA, which is, it stands for Every Mother's Advocate, is in California, Florida, New York, Ohio, Indiana, and Georgia. So I know those states have presences of these programs. And I think on their websites are a lot of resources connecting in those states as well. So I would encourage women to really look at those and see what else is out there. And if someone reaches out to us, we're always happy directly to look for something, contact people that we know to see if there's anything in their state or in their country. So we're always happy to be a resource for that too.
Oh, that's great. So they could just contact you and...
Yep, they sure could.
Okay. All right.
We would do what we could, reach out to partners that we know of and just say, what can we find? In fact, we were doing that for a client right now. Linda, I think it's your client.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, we know these people, we know these contacts. We'll get her connected as much as we can with something similar to Hope.
Well, you're helping someone out of state right now, Karen, aren't you?
Yeah. I did go. I was going to mention, like, there's a resource called Trauma Mamas. There's an app, and that's what I use.
You said that. That was great. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then there's the website wilderness2wild.com is another one. But yeah, it's just good to know because, sometimes it comes up where you just need, I don't know what resources are there in other states.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Well, Linda or Tammy, you can both answer this if you want. I know there's many stories of escaping abuse, then there's success stories. Is there any one story in particular that stands out to you?
Well, when I was thinking about that and I looked at that, I thought sometimes escaping abuse might be after you have already left the abusive situation, but the abuse sometimes will stay with people for a very long time. And even though they might be in a place that they are safe, they might not feel safe yet. And that can happen many times. So recently, there's a class that we're offering in the Apache Junction Center that's called Explore. And it's healing from past physical, spiritual, sexual, and mental abuse. So there was one of the ladies that is in there that she was saying, I am learning now that it wasn't my fault. And so for all these years, she's carried the guilt and the shame so many times that come along with people that have been abused, no matter what the abuse may have been. And to hear her say that I'm learning now that it wasn't my fault and, that she can have another layer of freedom that comes with that and come to recognize that, to me, that's a real success story.
Absolutely.
It's not the Celesta Tracy book, is it? Because I know she has a book.
It is.
Oh, yeah. We did a podcast with her on that book.
We did.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. They have Mending the Soul. And I've seen many ladies set free from that, many women. And the Explore is a shortened version. So it works well for what we do in the centers.
Yeah, it's a 3-part podcast if you want to use it in addition to help explain anything. It's on that book. So
the artist for that did the artwork. I used to go to her as a counselor a long, long time ago.
Was it Nancy Galassini Gunn?
Yeah.
Yeah, we interviewed both of them at the same time on that Explore podcast.
Oh, my goodness. I'll have to look for that because,
yes,
they do that.
I love that. Yeah, because she talks about using artwork too to heal, in it and stuff. And I totally love that. I love anything that Mending the Soul puts out.
Yeah. We interviewed Steve and Tracy, and we have an earlier one on Mending the Soul on that one, but we do have a specific one on the Explore book. Yeah. Where we go through it.
Because I was thrilled with that one because I'd gone through it, so many years ago and just to go through it in more of a journal format. Healing too.
That's where Karen and I met, was at a Mending the Soul group.
Yeah.
So. Oh my goodness. Wow. That's interesting
and then
to hear.
The nonprofit and the podcast and everything. Yeah. But I was going to say, I've been out 5 years and it does take a long time you do blame yourself. But I think what helped me was when I found out he was a diagnosed sociopath before I left him and I started studying, what that is and realizing that I realized at that moment when he was an actual sociopath that it wasn't my fault, that he was just incapable of loving me. And that was helpful to me. I know it sounds weird, but you blame yourself and you think that it's all your fault. So like I couldn't figure out how not to get beat up. I always blame myself. Like, what am I doing wrong? How can I stop this? So that is a really, really great story. Tammy, did you have anything?
It did. And I was thinking, as you were just saying, especially if someone is listening that is struggling, oftentimes it does take a woman several times of reaching out for help before she actually leaves an abusive situation. And we understand that. So sometimes the woman is afraid, if I reach out for help, somebody's going to make me do something I'm not ready for. And our centers are always safe places. Our staff is safe. And so we want to be able to encourage women. One that immediately came to mind was a woman we worked with for about a year before she was actually able to leave. She would email us. I would get emails at 3 a.m. because that was the only time she felt safe to email. And even though it was a really horrific situation, there were a lot of things she felt she needed to put in place before she could leave. So our team worked with her on a safety plan. We just kept loving her, encouraging her. She knew we were a call away. We kept all of her documents for her, which is an important part of a safety plan, so that she knew when she left, she knew all of her documents were safe. A copy of them were safe at Hope. And so when she was ready to make that call to leave and got the police and was safely able to get out, then we were able to just walk with her over the next year on a lot of the post-healing that Linda described, but really helping her settle with her child, get a job, and began all of the emotional healing from the abuse. And fast forward 2 years and she's thriving. She still checks in with us and she's so grateful. But I think a lot of times, and I know even in my own personal journey of abuse, a lot of times we think, I can't tell anyone, they're going to make me do something. And that is not Hope at all. We want to encourage, support, and we are there and will provide support at whatever place in the journey she's on. So I don't want that to be a deterrent for somebody to reach out.
Yeah, that's amazing. We have 5 safety planning podcasts with the Gilbert and Mesa police departments and court systems.
That's great. So that'll be
they use them. Their advocates use them that they don't have to go through hours and hours of
just listen to these podcasts.
Right.
They even take clips of them. They told me, and they'll send them just clips out of it, which is smart because it's really long. The main one's like an hour long, but the first one's on safe technology. Because if your technology is not safe, you might as well not listen to the safety planning one. And then we have 2 on how friends and family members and advocates can help in safety planning, what they should and shouldn't do and how they can help.
That's great.
We had always had people ask how they can help. So so you can look for those too in case you want to take little clips out of those.
That's great. It's always good to have just as much resources as possible for our staff and our volunteer advocates. So that's fantastic. Thank you. We will look at those. Absolutely.
This is for both of you. Is there any last word of hope and inspiration that you want to give to our listeners?
Well, I would just say I have such a heart for women to know that there really truly is freedom on the other side of abuse and that you really can walk in peace and have joy in your life. I've experienced abuse myself, some of the ones that we mentioned earlier, and through Jesus, through women believing me and walking alongside me, it is well in my heart and my soul. And it is risky to trust someone, but I would urge a woman to find at least one person she can trust. Come into a center like Tammy was saying, we're a safe place, and tell us your story. And there is hope and there is healing. So please take that risk and reach out and know that there are people who truly care.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I would say just having faced a similar journey of a domestic violence and an abusive marriage and having small children and feeling like I had no choice but to stay. No one understood. A lot of just spiritual trauma around what abuse looked like and what I should and shouldn't do. My biggest encouragement to other women is that you are not alone. You are not the only one with this story. So many women have gone before you. They understand and they can be a guide to you. Please reach out. Any of our centers, we're safe places. There is help, there is hope, and there is freedom. And on the other side of it now, probably 20 years past that, I can just attest. There's so much freedom and healing and the joy of being able to just watch another woman find that and experience that and thrive. It's just, I could never have seen that. It was so hard to see that in the middle of it, but on the other side of it, oh, it's so beautiful to see the growth, the healing that God brings and the beauty from ashes that he can bring. So I would just give that encouragement to any woman that's struggling right now.
And I love that. It seems like so many people that have that background, they end up working in that because you have that passion and you want to, you get freedom and healing and you want everyone else
to want to share that. Exactly.
Yeah, because it's doable and it's hard. And I know what you're saying is at the beginning, it doesn't feel that way at all.
Right.
When it's going through that and maybe, in the midst of an abusive marriage or whatever relationship, just knowing that there is hope You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're all about hope and healing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely.
Yeah.
So we'd like to thank you so much for being on the podcast. Can any of our listeners contact you if they have any questions, or who can they reach out to?
Yeah, no, absolutely. HopeWomenCenter.org lists all of our locations, our phone numbers, the addresses of those locations, and then info@HopeWomenCenter.org. That's also listed on our website is our general email, and they can email that and ask questions, and our staff will get them to the right person to connect, to just walk with them. So yeah, we'd love to talk to anybody that's struggling.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I'm so glad that these resources are there. It's so needed. And we just appreciate you both taking the time to be on our podcast.
Yeah. And we've been a nonprofit for about 3 years. I think it's 24 years. I mean, it's almost 4 years. We started it right the month before COVID.
Wow.
We put in our application, and it's just encouraging to see that, first we were like, thought we'd have to, it just takes time for all these programs to happen, but it's so encouraging that we can partner with all the other nonprofits in the area because you've been doing it much longer and you already have. So we're able to help people because the whole point is to help people.
Yeah. And
it's not about, working together, because it's not about what we can do on our own right now.
Right.
So we're doing what we can do. Everyone has their role, and you guys offer so much that it's just such a help to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we appreciate it.
And we love to collaborate. So we're so happy when we find out resources like you guys to be able to share with our women, to be able to share with our team for more training. And just anytime we can come together, it only benefits our community as a whole, especially in the body of Christ. So we're really happy to be connected to you guys.
Yeah. And it is a trust thing too, because there'll be certain people that I've helped that I don't even know if they would have told anybody or gotten out because they trusted me. But then I was able to use all the other resources in the community to help those people.
Yeah.
So it is the more people out that are helping, the better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so. All right. Well, we just want to thank you for being on the podcast.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Before we hang up with you guys, I want to ask you another question. So do you guys struggle with, like, I've been hearing some things about like women that have children, they don't want to work and stuff because then they lose their food stamps and they lose if they make any more money, then they lose all their government stuff. Do you have, or do you just try to work with them on that and explain that they should work?
Yeah.
Or?
We do. It's a very broken system, and it's very frustrating when you're working in that to know that the very help the thing that's supposed to help them also is really keeping them almost in bondage to this cycle because they can't, earn a livable wage or they lose certain benefits. So we just continue to encourage. Part of what I love about our Hope at Work program is that it is all about, why is work good? Why does God call work good? Why does he say it's good for us to work? And how does it help our community flourish? Ourselves flourish, our families flourish. What's it teaching our kids? And how does it help our community flourish? So helping give them that vision is a big part of what we do, and helping them understand work is good and being able to be independent. The tools and the helps and the government assistance is there to get you to a place where you can walk forward and thrive on your own. So continuing to bring that vision to them.
All right. I just had a lot of questions about that lately from different people, and
it's hard.
I'd ask you.
Yeah, there are women that it's really hard. We've been in a relationship with a long time because Hope doesn't have a start and end date. So women I've known for the 12 years I've been at Hope, and they still are stuck in that cycle, and they just can't. They don't want to break with that. They're afraid to break with that welfare system. So it's just a journey. And we just continue to encourage them with all the tools and the best that we can for what empowerment looks like on the other side of that even.
Yeah.
Well, that was such a positive answer. I might leave it on the podcast.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to have it on the podcast, but I think I just noticed that that's a problem in America right now.
Yeah. And it starts out, I always remind people, welfare is a necessary thing. There is a place for it and a time for it. It is important, but it's supposed to be a piece of the journey to get you to a place where you don't need it. It's not meant to keep you in a cycle of always having to depend on it. And that's where the system breaks down.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll keep them from being empowered.
Yeah.
Right. You stay in bondage to it. You can't make a certain amount, all of that. So it is necessary, but it is only supposed to be a very temporary thing to help somebody stabilize.
Well, it is good that it's here now because inflation keeps going up.
It does. And it is needed. That's why I'm very careful to say it has a part. We just don't want it. We want to see you empowered and moving ahead as you use that tool. And then you're able to grow past that by getting a better job, by getting benefits from your employer, and on and on. So.
Well, okay. Well, I think that's all I had. Did you have any other questions?
No.
Yeah, the last couple people that I've had reach out to me were in state, and then they were more like police protection issues. But
well, we'd love to be a resource to anybody that we can. And we'll definitely be listening to more of your podcasts. I had a friend recommend them to me, I think a year ago, and I listened to a few. So I'm excited about some of the others we can listen to, and just however we can support any of your clients that are in state. We'd love to do that.
and that was Mandy, right? Because she's on our board.
Yeah,
she's on our board.
She had sent me the text. She had kept sending me the little links to it. I didn't remember she was on your board, but I knew she knew you guys. So Mandy's awesome. So Mandy's a great resource for Florida for any. I feel like she carries a wealth in her head of all the different nonprofits across the United States.
She does.
Especially if I want to go on a trip to the beach. Well, anyway, you guys have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Are you on social media real quick?
Hope Women's Center. Yes. All of our centers are on social media and Instagram. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Hanging On to Hope. Check out our website, hangingontohope.org. There are resources on there, and if you would like to donate or volunteer, you can do that through our website. We are a brand new nonprofit, so we appreciate any and all support. And we thank you for listening, and until next time, keep hanging on to hope. We are evidence that there is hope and healing for you, and our passion is to help you find it too. So thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for listening, everyone.